So we have another fantastic guest joining us. You may recognize her from a previous episode. She's back and better than ever. Would you like to introduce yourself again?
Hello. It's Marcelina back again. Um, yeah, just but from home this time, not from school.
It's a different you then.
It's a completely different Marcelina.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us. We really appreciate this, especially now that you're not at college, taking the time off to be here. And yeah, we just like to listen to your thoughts right now.
Yeah, so today has definitely been a really weird day. Um, Started off normal, to be completely honest. I did not know that like January 6th was even the day that they confirmed the electoral votes or any. Like I did not know that was happening today. Um, and then I went to work and I worked from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. and I was not on my phone like at all during that time. And then when I got out, all of a sudden on my like scrolling through social media, I saw all these crazy like videos and posts of people like in the Capitol rioting, and it was like crazy, and it was just barely developing then, and not that much was out there, and I was had other commitments. I couldn't even spend that much time like looking into it, and just like very shocked. And I didn't really know the scope of it, but it was very like very odd feeling. Um, and then once I got time to like sit down and do more research on it and saw the videos of people in there and what was really happening, it felt very, very surreal and terrifying as someone who does not agree with any of the things that are happening or those people's views. This is actually quite against it, thinking about, wow, this is like, it felt like it was out of a movie. Like if this has not been a simulation before, like someone really said, let's pull a prank now on the US. Um, and the thing that got to me is my I'm just at home, like I'm not really I'm going to work in home. I don't see anybody else in person right now. And my family does not keep up with the news. They don't read anything, they don't watch the news, they don't care to hear about it. And I had nobody to go and be like, the world is end, like the Capitol was rioted in and crashed into, like this is bad. Like I told my mom, and she was like, "Nah, you're lying." "Hmm, well,
So you should.
hold up." But then like I explained it, and like we had a whole conversation. It actually went very well. Like we talked for a long time about it, and I told her about it, and it was good. But it was definitely very weird, and I'm still feeling very weird. And I have been watching a lot of TikToks about it, which is not necessarily the best source of information, but there
But
is a
it's a
lot of
source.
people. It is a source, and there's a few people I've seen who are either living in DC, like showing videos of what was happening, like outside their balconies, or were people who just went down who were not part of the riots, but decided to go down and see like what was happening, and some more first person like point of views from inside of it. Um, and yeah, it's kind of been a pile of poop like happening in my brain of like what is going on, and I can't process it. And as somebody who's not constantly keeping track of what's happening in the world, like I don't read the news every day, like as much as I would love to be informed, like I just don't do it. And I know that's a fault and I should be more informed, but I try my best to like keep up with the big events, and this is definitely it. And I have been refreshing the CNN page about every 5 minutes of what's currently happening, um, with confirming the votes and who's objecting and what they're saying, and different plans about the 25th Amendment. And I think, and if they're deciding to try and use that, and it's going a little crazy, and I don't really know how to feel or process it because I haven't like really been able to have a discussion about it with anybody yet.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot, and that's what we're here for, is to have that discussion and to be able to help you process it. Um, Talking about like you wanting to be informed and you keeping up with big dates. remembering a school project that I did my freshman year in high school, take it way back, where I had to interview my mom about how she felt about 9/11 and when that happened, what was running through her mind, all that, jazz, like lead up, how she found out, stuff like that. And the aftermath for her was to basically to start being informed. Like beforehand, she like didn't really watch the news or anything like that. She just kind of just like heard about the big events, as you say. And then after this happened, she took it upon herself to be like, you know what? I feel like I need to be up to date with everything. So I know if something bad is happening, I could be aware of these things, uh, stuff like that. So that was her inciting incident. I'm wondering if this could be like an inciting incident for you to like maybe, follow the news a little bit more.
Yeah, I think that's pretty accurate because at this point, like, it's terrifying. Like, I think I mostly just didn't read it because at a certain point, it's just too much and it's too, like, scary to know what's happening. Like, it's better to be in bliss of ignorance at it, like, but then I wish I knew, like, what was coming out. It's funny you mentioned talking about 9/11 because one of the TikToks I saw was like, make sure you remember exactly what you did today because one day your grandkids are going to be calling you to ask where you were on January 6th. And I was like, oh, haha, that's kind of terrifying that we're living like through a DBQ and like future school project type of large scale event.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Well, that I feel like the entirety of the last 4 years are going to be like studied for years to come about President Trump. But yeah, about kind of talking about again processing what's been going on. I kind of want to talk about kind of your first reaction, like emotionally speaking. Were you scared? I know it was happening far away. Did fear ever register? Was it more just like surprise? Was it fear for the future of our country?
right. I think it was definitely like I was all over the place, but there was a lot of fear for the country as a whole because I definitely have a feeling that it could have gone a lot further and worse than that potentially, and it still possibly could at a certain point, like depending on where they want to take it. And that's really scary because I definitely don't want to live through like a civil war revolution with like them leading the charge. Like that's not something that's terrifying and super scary. And it was definitely further away, so it didn't feel as scary. Like I didn't think someone was gonna come like banging at my door, but where I live and people who I went to high school with and hung around with for a while in the past, like were huge Trump supporters, like flags on the back of their trucks, and like that's basically why I stopped being friends with them. And I was waiting for texts all day, being like words, like taking over, like whatever, like stuff like that. And as I was driving, like you don't see that many cops around where I live, like every once in a while, obviously, but they're not common. And on my 20-minute drive somewhere today, I probably passed around 10 cops, like, and sheriffs. There's a huge increase of them, which I don't know if it was correlated, but it definitely made me feel like it was. Um, and I really like a big goal of mine was to inform like my mom about it since she does not view the news. I was like, ooh, she probably know this is happening. So I turned into like me learning as much as I can to help them understand more what's happening.
And to touch upon like all of this, not being informed. Um I have a feeling, or I just have like I've had this thought for a while, is that the media doesn't do a good job of portraying certain events. I feel like if something good in the world happens, I don't feel like the media does a good job of portraying that in the light that they should, give it enough attention as they should. And when something bad happens, I think they kind of downplay it and don't say like how bad it really is. Sometimes they'll say like some bad things, but there are also points where they're just like saying, like it, whatever. Like I probably refer to this incident differently than some news anchors refer to it, and differently than other people, of course. I I think it is what it is, but all this like misinformation that could be thrown around could lead to this type of ignorance per se, to where more of these events start to become a natural like occurrence. Like, do you think that after this, like there will be more things like it in the future, in like the days to come, weeks to come, or do you think this was just like a one-time thing?
Yeah, I have a feeling this is going to carry on a good amount already. Like an hour ago, I started reading about different state capitals starting to be like have protests in front of them and whatever, different MAGA people out there. And I think after seeing how easily these people kind of got away with it, most of them, like there was really not that many people detained. They were barely even detained, like compared to other things of like a lesser caliber happened to people. And I think if anything, this boosted like those people's confidence in being able to do things like this. And I will not be surprised if within the next week or two, a lot of these events start happening, not on a smaller scale all around the country, like not only at state capitals, but other government buildings and just random buildings in general. Um, People just thinking they can start getting away with this all the time. And that's concerning on a whole nother level of people do not wear masks. And the more they keep doing this, I think it's going to create a huge problem for us very quickly. Yeah, definitely is probably portrayed a little less than the outcome of it's probably going to end up being.
Eli, is there anything else that you would like to ask?
Yeah, I'll ask one more question. So yeah, kind of talking about, like you said, how kind of your initial reaction was all over the place and fear and your kind of quest for, I don't know if you want to call it a quest, but like, your new motivation to start and learn. What has that been like, right? Because I know the process of learning, especially now, kind of like what Jack said, with all of these media sources kind of portraying it in different lights, how has this experience kind of been for you?
Right, it's very overwhelming. I have been sticking to like two sources, so I don't really am in favor of any large media like news source. Like none of them are great, but there's some that are better than others. And what I've been sticking to tonight has been CNN. They have live updates of things happening, and I also was watching part of the live stream um, about what's happening like on the house floor, I think, and been keeping up with that a good amount. And then there's one independent news guy I watch on TikTok, Marcus, who I know sounds bad, but he like bachelor's in like journalism, and he has been following Trump exclusively on his campaign like from the beginning, and has only been reporting on him. Like he's not affiliated with anybody else, and he like went out and was standing and like just reporting on the riots and was in there and taking like videos of it and informing like on time like what was happening. And it's been weird because I don't know what a lot of the words mean, and they're very new to me, and the processes that are happening and talking about different routes to take. And I didn't even know that some of these officials who have been resigning existed, and other things like that. So it's a lot, but it feels good. I mean, this is definitely a weird time to jump into the news world because there's so much happening, and it's
Yeah.
all so fast. Like things are changing by the minute. But it's entertaining. I mean, I couldn't stop looking at the CNN website while watching Survivor. So that was
Yeah,
fun.
we know how entertaining Survivor can be.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, thank you very much for joining us again. We really enjoyed having you on and for you to express your thoughts and feelings over what has been happening in our world.
Yeah, it was really great to be back. It's a fun time.
Thank you so much. Yeah.